Hi, I'm the lone journalist for KRAZ TV. Well, we have two books on the same subject today. These two book reviews. Really good books because it tells a lot about what's going on. And this one's called Water, a Biography. It's by Giulio Boccaletti. Not even going to say I'm butchering names. Well, this is a book that has the overall story. The next book will be about water in the West. So anyways, Giulio Boccaletti is a globally recognized expert on natural resource security and environmental sustainability. He is an honorary research associate of the Smith School of Enterprise and the Environment, University of Oxford. Trained as a physicist and climate scientist, he holds a doctorate from Princeton University, where he was a NASA Earth Systems Science Fellow. He's been a research scientist at MIT and a partner at McKinsey & Company, where he's one of the leaders of its sustainability and resource productivity practice, and its chief strategy officer and the chief strategy officer and global ambassador for water at the Nature Conservancy, one of the world's largest environmental organizations. Boccaletti frequently writes on environmental issues for the news media, including Projects Syndicate and The Guardian, is an expert contributor to the World Economic Forum. His work on water has been featured in the PBS series H2O, The Molecule That Made Us. He lives in London. This book is published by Pantheon Books, New York. Water. Spanning millennia and continents, here's a stunning, revealing history of how the distribution of water has shaped man's or human civilization. Writing with authority and brio, Giulio Boccaletti, honorary research associate at the School of Enterprise and the Environment, University of Oxford, shrewdly combines environmental and social history, beginning with the earliest civilization of sedentary farmers on the banks of the Nile, the Tigris, and the Euphrates rivers. Even as he describes how these societies were made possible by sea level changes from the last glacial melt, he incisively examines how this type of farming led to irrigation and multiple cropping, which in turn led to population explosion and labor specialization. We see with clarity how irrigation structure informed social structures. Inventions such as the calendar sprang up from agricultural necessity. How in ancient Greece the communal ownership of well laid the groundworks for democracy, and how the modern world, and how the Greek and Roman experiences with water security resulted in systems of taxation. And how the modern world as we know it began with a legal framework for the development of water infrastructures. Extraordinary for its monumental scope and piercing insightfulness, Water, a Biography, richly enlarges our understanding of our relationship and our fundamental reliance on the most elemental substance on the earth. That's a mouthful, and every bit of it's true. I'm just fascinated. I think water's important to everyone, don't you? But it's just such a great subject that, well, it's an explosive subject. It's a heartfelt subject, and in here he talks about a lot of civilizations that they wonder, where did they go? Well, the real answer is they ran out of water, or they tried experiments that really didn't work, or countries invaded one another for their water, or how water was used as a weapon at times. But it also talks about our slow plod to the society that we have today, and it's just a fascinating story. He talks about all the Westphalia and the rise of the commercial state. Now this was in Holland, so it talks about every country, and he starts out, like he said, with Mesopotamia, Sumeria, the Indus Valley. He finally comes to the west, of course, but in Europe, Holland or Zeeland was being drained, and how Antwerp, Belgium was one of the greatest shipping ports, and then Holland, just by draining their lowland, marshland, and making canals and all that, overtook at Rotterdam, the largest seaport in the world even today. So manipulation of water, and it's all just so we can have more people sit on the land, and easier methods, and greater profits, and all of that. So let me see. We talk about, well, I wanted to get a little bit into America here, because we started digging canals here, and then we started keeping water for ourselves, but I really want to keep that story for the next book. So the Romans really did a lot of the aqueducts and all of that, and they needed the most grain because they used the rest of the world as their breadbasket, Egypt and all of that. So there's always a crisis involved. The water frontier. America turns to empire. Fascism is born. First thing it says, Russia had produced real communism through the electrification of its river. I don't know if it's real communism, but the transformation into the Soviet Union was not the only water response to the consequences of the First World War. I just hope, though, that we don't think that wars led to, or water led to the wars, but it's our selfishness and our, I don't know, wanting to make sure we get ours before anybody gets theirs. And there's only a finite amount. And he talks about how the water silts up. This isn't really just about dams. The other one story is mostly about damming, but this is how civilization spread out, how people lived along rivers and used what they wanted, but then it became a necessity, see, and that's what really started it all, is that, and to show unity, like the Soviet Union, we're going to, we have so much land, and the steppes didn't have a lot of water, and even recently in this book they should tell about the Soviets turning Arctic rivers back down to run reverse on themselves. So there's nobody to blame but ourselves, and we're all human, so I don't know. I just could go on and on about the book. It's just, it's a real history, though, and it just needs to be dealt with. But I'm glad that I took the opportunity, and I'd like for you to take the opportunity to read this book and to see and think about more about some of the basic things in life, and water is one of them. So I'm going to go off with that because I don't want to take too long, because if I really got into it and started turning pages here, and I would be here for 20-30 minutes, and after a while people get tired of listening to me. So with that, I'm going to go out, but say get the book, Water, a biography by Giulio Boccaletti, and it's got at our Tucson, Pima County Public Library. Thanks for watching. Keep watching all of our other shows.